Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining Of Two Mindsets. I am Dee Hill, and with me, as always, is my lovely host, Dr. Pam Hooks. How are you doing today, Dr. P?
I am doing great. Dee, how are you?
Doing great as well. Not too bad of a day. Got some things done. It's coming off of this very nice Mother's Day weekend, and it's been beautiful just these past few days. No complaints. Um, I know your Mother's Day may have its ups and downs, but how was your Mother's Day this year?
I will tell you that this is probably has been one of the best, has been the best since my mother passed.
Right,
Um, my goddaughter did brunch for me and her other godmom and her mom and a couple of her mother's friends, and Dallas showed up and hung out for a little while, and um, I got a couple of gifts, and one of the gifts was to go see the Michael Jackson movie.
right.
So I did that. So actually, it was really nice not to um, be sad. So if I'm very transparent.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I tell people all the time that I used to be not necessarily jealous, but very envious
Mhm.
of other people who are out buying for their moms, or I could see them out in the stores, out to dinner with their mothers, and not mad, just envious because I'm missing that part of my life. But this year, it was a lot easier. Not too much sadness. I normally would drive to Sandersville
Right.
um, to spend some time at with her, but I decided she's not there, and I could spend time with her anywhere. So that's what I did.
That's a beautiful thought. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
see, lazy people like me didn't even spend time with their mother, but she said that she was going to do her own thing this weekend, and
Oh,
I,
okay.
I sent her some nice gifts, so she was happy with that, and we did
I'm
talk.
sure
Yeah,
you're a great gift giver, so
I
I'm
do
sure
try.
she enjoyed it. Yeah, you're a great gift giver, so I'm sure she enjoyed her stuff.
I think
And
she
that
did.
reminds me, I still have one or two things here for you, and
For
and it's
me.
been months,
All right. Well, I guess I got
so
to
you got
get
to
over
get
there.
those.
Absolutely. So you
Yeah.
saw the Michael Jackson movie, which is entitled Michael, and
Yeah.
very, very entertaining movie, I thought. And there was so many aspects of it, and we'll touch on some of those right now. But of course, it starts off with Joe Jackson, sort of getting the kids into becoming the Jackson Five, which was the early
Right.
iteration of who the Jacksons were. What are
Right.
your personal memories of the Jackson Five?
Oh man, listen. I can remember, like, this is before your time, I'm sure, but we used to go to the grocery store and you could buy cereal.
Yeah,
And then on the back of the box, there was Motown, and you could cut that out, and that would be a record. And that was my first Jackson 5 record.
wow. Yeah, I don't remember that. You're only
Yeah,
a few years
yeah,
older than
yeah.
me, but yeah, I remember the Jacksons. My first memory of them actually watching something was the Jackson Five cartoon. I can't
Okay, yeah.
remember if it came on Saturday mornings, but that was when I really got introduced to them, and as a very young child, because yeah, like you said, they got started just before I was born, I think, and
Mhm.
so it was they were always there in the culture, even
Yes.
if we weren't totally immersed in
Words in them.
knowing
Yes,
who they
they've
were.
always been in the culture. Yes, exactly.
So this record that you got from the cereal box, was it just something to draw on, or what was that?
No, 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 no. It was a real record. I
A
mean,
real
like,
record,
yeah, like you could play the record. You could literally take the
oh,
back of the box,
right?
cut around it. I don't know if you remember, but you could put the little, they used to have the little round, things that you put in the middle of the
Yeah,
record
yeah. So
to make
that's
it
what
not
held
walk
it in
side to
place.
side.
Right.
Yeah. So you if you had one of those, you had a record.
Oh
So
wow.
you could actually play it if you had a stereo. So that was one
Wow.
of the yeah, that was one of my first real Jackson 5 records, I think. And just remembering them growing up, I can remember trying to mimic the moves,
Yeah.
you know. So, but but they are a phenomenal family, all in all of them, all
Right.
of them.
Right. Yeah. And so we have two people playing Michael Jackson, and we'll start off like obviously at the beginning. The young boy who played young Michael was Giuliano Valdi. So
Yeah.
in regard to people who have played him before, how did you rate his performance as a young Michael Jackson in the Jackson Five?
Honestly, I think that he really captured the essence of Michael as a young kid. And you have to think that him being so young, he took those emotional scenes and just went with it.
Right.
To be so young and for a child actor, he carried that heavy emotional, um, sometimes very depressing scenes, and he took them and he ran with them. It was almost like he was reliving,
Yeah.
Michael himself.
Absolutely. And that reminds me, we should warn everybody, give you what's it called? The we don't want to spoil the movie for you, spoiler
Yeah,
alert. So
no spoiler alerts.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do our best, but if you haven't watched the movie yet, maybe watch it before because we're just going to talk and we might reveal some things, even though we'll try our best, that you probably would want to see in the movie before you hear us
well,
talk.
I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you, co-host. Even if we do, this is a movie. I walked out of there saying I have got to come back to
Yeah,
watch it again.
yeah,
Um, and so that's my goal is within the next week or so to
mhm,
really go back and watch it again because it's an epic movie. It's like going to a concert in a movie theater. Um,
right.
I mean, for real, it's like, and there were kids there who they don't even know the early Michael Jackson, but they were
Yeah,
dressed
yeah.
up in character. So. Hey, I was at all. I'm just gonna tell you,
Yeah,
I was at all.
it's quite an experience, and there aren't too many movies like this that come along, that make you want to dance, and they give you that nostalgia because so many people were fans of Michael Jackson.
Yes,
Even they might put somebody else above him, but you had to be a fan of Michael Jackson
yes,
if you were
yeah,
around when he was
yeah.
performing. Yeah, so yeah, I thought the same. This kid did a great job,
Mhm.
and you couldn't tell me that this wasn't a real biopic. Like it felt like the Jacksons. It felt like a
Right.
real
Like
deal.
you actually were walking through a time capsule,
Exactly.
and actually watching it. And the young man who played Michael, he even took the shyness that Michael had. Um, his
Yeah.
his his stage presence, his charisma. He took all of that and ran with it. I was just at awe of him. He did a phenomenal job. He did. I don't know if this was his first movie or not. I never looked that up.
I did not either. I did a little bit of research, but I didn't actually look back at their individual IDMs or IMDb's
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
if they had done previous movies. So I'm not sure about that, but you could imagine that both the younger actor and the nephew, they could easily have acting careers. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised. So I don't know if you had heard they wanted Janet Jackson to be a part of the movie. She
Hmm.
declined. There was no beef or there was no negative feelings in it. She just didn't want to be a part of the movie. When I first watched it, it didn't even cross my mind. Hey, where's Janet Jackson? But instead of like just even getting somebody to play her, which
Okay.
I guess that was a part of the her not being involved is that
Involved.
they couldn't even portray her in the movie. Did
Right.
you realize that when you watched it, or had you heard before? And did you go back and say, yeah, they didn't have Janet?
Well, I did hear that she declined to be in the movie. I thought it was some other, scenario where maybe there was, like you said, some type of beef. But I don't think that it was ever disclosed why she just did not want to be a part of it. But I will say that her presence, um, you could actually feel the absence in the movie. In my opinion, I don't
Um,
think it took away. I would say this: it did not take away from the
Absolutely.
movie at all. I would tell you that it does not take away from the movie because um, the great job that the other actors did, even the young lady that played Latoya,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they didn't even have Reby in there.
Reby, right, right.
Yeah,
But
so.
so I will say I did not think about it when I watched the movie that Janet was not in there because she was the you could say that her career almost mirrored or equaled Michael Jackson. She was not just a musical phenomenon. She was an actress.
Yes,
She was
yes,
in
yes,
Good
yes,
Times. We saw her in
yes,
Good
yes.
Times. She was in what else was she? She was in a whole bunch of stuff, even as a
She
kid.
was in Different Strokes.
Yeah, and she had guest appearances here and
Yeah,
there.
she
She
and she
was
was in Poetic Justice.
Poetic Justice, absolutely, and
So she
a
had
whole
a
bunch of
marvelous.
stuff.
She has
Yeah,
a marvelous
Tyler
career.
Perry
She because
movie.
she Yeah, she's
Yeah,
not because she's not done yet. So I won't say
yeah,
that she
she
had. I would
has.
say she has a marvelous career. I mean, between acting, singing, dancing, choreography, being a great mom. I just think
Yeah,
that she has a wonderful career. So I don't like I said, she didn't take away. You would think, you probably would think, well, dang, they even had a couple of songs together.
yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah,
Big
and
songs,
yeah, and you
Scream.
would
Yeah,
say, yeah, and you would
right.
think that that would have taken away from the movie, but I will tell you, it did not one iota. It did not take away from this movie at all.
And that sort of says how big of a character Michael Jackson was,
Yes,
because
yes,
someone as big of a character as Janet Jackson, we didn't
yeah,
even miss it.
yeah.
And I think that she has said that they were best friends. So it really is, though, that left a lot out, but they did such a good job with the movie. We simply did not miss it. So I just thought that was a big point. To you said that you wasn't sure if there was any beef. I did look at a couple of articles. They said that Janet Jackson herself said that there was no issue of any sort. She just did not want to be involved in it, and that I don't think there were any negative feelings or any sort. And I think Antoine Fuqua said the same thing. So yeah, so it was just one of those things that was very peculiar, but we didn't miss it. But
Mm-mm.
still, it left a big chunk of his life out
Oh yeah,
of the
yeah.
movie.
I mean, it was you could tell the noticeable gap
Yeah,
in the family dynamic, even when they showed the earlier years, because there's not too many years between her and Michael.
yeah, right.
So that you could see the gap in the family dynamics. Um, but as far as the movie itself, it did not one single strand of hair was missed because she wasn't in there.
Yeah,
Not saying anything negative about that. Just saying that she doesn't just because she's not in it. Don't think that you're going to be missing out, guys.
yeah. And
I don't
again,
want you to think just because she's not in there that you're going to be missing out. I promise you, you're
right.
not.
And
You're not.
I would just reiterate it speaks to the how good of a job they did with the movie,
Yes.
that you
Yes.
didn't miss Janet. Coleman Domingo, You know who that is?
Ah,
He,
yes,
he
he is the guy who played Joe.
right. What were your thoughts on his performance?
Um, I think he gave the strongest performance. Well, outside of Michael, I just say that um he was very dramatic.
Yeah,
Um, his performance was almost as if you could see Joe Jackson himself.
yeah,
Even some of the features that they gave him as a noticeable resemblance of Joe. Um, I just he did a I think he did a great job. I do.
absolutely.
He avoids turning. I think he avoids turning Joe into this villain, because we all
Mhm.
look at, the dad, Joe Jackson, as a villain for the Jackson Five and the Jackson family, period. But I think his performance kind of softens that a little bit.
Yeah.
Not much, but it kind of touched on the fact that he did what he did for a reason.
So yeah, out of all the Joe Jackson portrayals I've seen over the years, this was the best. Yes, and let me just speak on two things. You see a lot of memes on social media where they're talking about people who's about to play an actor or
Hmm.
actress. So he is a perfect example that you do not need an actor to look like the person they're portraying in order
Hmm.
to make it a good movie. It's absolutely unnecessary. So when I see these things where they're trying to pair this actor with this character, it doesn't make a difference. If a good actor can play
Is a
any
good
character,
actor.
exactly.
Yeah.
They do not need to look like the person. Let the makeup artists and the makeup people make any changes if that is necessary.
Right.
Perfect example. Um, Denzel Washington looks absolutely nothing like Malcolm X.
But
Nothing.
they did an incredible job
Exactly.
with his features, and the makeup artist did a wonderful job in making him resemble Malcolm in so many different ways. And even the character, the actor himself, well, Denzel is Denzel, but
Yeah.
the actor himself actually studying Malcolm's motions, his hand gestures, his walk, his posture, how he wore his glasses, everything about that man. He studied, and you could actually, it was almost like that character was pushed through,
Yeah. When
like
Denzel
Malcolm was pushed straight through Denzel during filming.
exactly when Denzel was talking, Malcolm was talking, and that's what we get
Yeah,
with this performance by Coleman Domingo. He becomes Joe Jackson, and like you said, I was going to touch on this also. He gave Joe Jackson a sense of humanity. We have been told that Joe Jackson was this monster. And
yeah.
what I saw in this movie, which I think is probably closer to the truth, he was more like those uncles that we have in our family. He was more like the men I grew up around with in the neighborhood. Yeah, they had some rough sides. They um, spanked their kids sometimes a little harshly, but then they took
Mhm.
care of the family and they made sure everybody was doing what they needed to do, and for the most part, they came home every night. So
Yeah, yeah,
and then,
yeah. And I don't think, for me, I just think that I think Coleman Domingo showed that Joe could be both intimidating and had some insecurities in himself.
what were those insecurities? I don't know if I saw that.
I think it was the fact that for me,
Yeah,
I think that he was insecure in the fact that he wanted it to seem, I'm not going to say that he wanted it to seem like he was the reason why the Jackson 5 became the Jackson 5, but I just think that he felt that if he did not have his hands in everything that they were doing,
Right.
you know, that he wasn't as important.
Mm, I
You
can see.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
the boys didn't, the brothers, they were cool with everything.
Yeah.
They weren't the type that was pulling on his coattail, on Michael's coattail.
Right.
But for me, it showed that he was an actual man who can be intimidating and yet at the same time have his own insecurities about who he is as a man,
I
as a
got.
person, as a human, as you say, the humanistic side of him show that, yeah, I'm the daddy. What I say, go. You gonna get up here. You gonna do what I say, do. Don't do what I tell you to do. I'm gonna beat you behind. But in the same token in time, it was like, if I don't have my hands in everything, if people don't know that I'm their dad, am I am I just Joe Jackson, or am I the dad of the Jackson Five, or am I the dad of Michael Jackson?
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I see that, and like I think we agree. We both seen him described as a terrible person for the most
Hmm.
part, and
Hmm.
it's rare that we get this side of him. He wasn't a pushover. He wasn't super soft, but he was just a man and someone trying to make the best of his family. That's what we saw in this movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like I said,
yeah.
I think that was probably closer to the truth. Of course, I wasn't there, so who knows?
Right. Well,
But
I do when you watch the movie, even though you hear all of these stories, when you watch the movie, you can see, like you said, those uncles that you grew up with. But I can understand why the Jacksons succeeded. I can see
yeah,
why they were successful, while also understanding their emotional damage at the same time. Um,
yeah,
it's six in one hand, a half a dozen in the next. So, um, hey, do you go out here and you push them, push them, push them, and damage them where they're afraid to make their own decisions, scared to make their own decisions, scared to stand up for themselves. And then on the other hand, you can see that they're going to be successful. What do can you and that's, I'm be honest with you, that's most parents.
yeah, yeah.
That's most parents. Now, most parents weren't as harsh as Joe Jackson. At least,
Right.
at least the parents I know. It's some out there. That's why you have, some of the kids and some of the situations that they're in. But for the most part, most parents are those parents who want their kids to succeed. Because to be honest with you, he
Hmm.
wanted them not to be in the iron mill. He basically said, "I don't. Do you want to be in the iron factory?"
We're doing that hard
Yeah,
physical
doing that
labor.
physical hard labor.
Yeah,
He said,
yeah,
if you don't, then this is how you're gonna get out of it.
right. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right. So as we move on to Michael as an adult, we see the change in actors and his actual nephew, who I think is Jermaine's son,
It
is
is.
playing him. And so, was this a good choice, or should they have picked somebody else?
Oh man. I think it actually it was I think it was the perfect choice. I physically, vocally, the resemblance was there. Um, and you could see Jafar, and you be looking like, is that Jafar? Is that Michael? Is that the
Right.
nephew? Is that
Yeah.
Michael? So the resemblance of him was just so canny, and then for him to get the moves, I mean, like he was really doing the dancing.
Absolutely.
Um, and he did say that it was an honor to play his uncle.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they were doing the Beat It video, uh,
Um,
oh man, I thought that we were watching Michael
Michael
Jackson.
Jackson,
He
yes.
did, he did such a great job, and I think he was the perfect choice. He
Yeah.
obviously, just because he has the looks doesn't mean you're going to do well playing your uncle, but
Right,
so he
right.
obviously did the work also.
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
apparently, and I looked this up, the Beat It scenario was a real deal. Michael got gangs, rival
Oh,
gangs
yeah,
together,
yeah.
and
Yeah, I heard
had
that.
him
Yeah, yeah.
to
I heard
be
that
in the
before. Yeah,
background of the video. So
yeah.
that was really cool. And that whole scene, that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie,
Well,
the,
I
the
think
making of the beat.
now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you remember that time when Compton, they were supposed to have been coming, the gangs were supposed to have been coming together. This is when Beat It came out and the NWA was
Okay.
out at the same time. And I think
Yep.
they were all supposed to be working together to try to mesh the gangs to, to cut the beef down and
Gotcha.
the drive-bys and all of that. And this was supposed to have been a part of that nuance that they had so that they could try to cut down the crime in California, in LA. So that was one of the major things. And I think, in my opinion, that the crime rate, the homicide rate, I think a lot of that dropped after that. I want to call, they said that it was called I can't remember, because a friend of mine, she actually was part of one of the gangs.
Right.
And it was all in the park. They had a whole thing in the park where it was food and everything. So I think that for him to be able to have that kind of power, to
Yeah.
bring two
Absolutely.
rival gangs into one building, and the only thing they're doing is having a dance off.
Right.
Which,
Right.
and was immaculate,
It was
to see
awesome.
them dancing as he walks in and watches them. And he's amazed at the fact that they can do all these dances, and they're not beefing. They're not, they put everything aside because of him,
Right. Right.
you
Yeah,
know.
and it was cool the way they were in awe when he walked in.
Yeah,
They
they was
were
like, hey, hey,
genuine
hey, hey,
fans.
that's Mike, like they was all excited and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was incredible.
yeah, exactly, exactly. This is right quick. I just want to tell everybody that we thank you for watching the show. If you are enjoying this conversation and enjoy conversations like it, please hit the like button for us. Go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and you'll be more easily able to find us when you're looking for our videos. So there's a scene where Quincy Jones is telling Michael that they want to name his album, which turned out to be the Thriller album. They wanted
Right.
to name it Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson says, that's a little too egocentric. And
Yeah.
and I thought, wait a minute, but Michael Jackson is egocentric, isn't he? But then I thought a little bit more about it. He was able to walk this line between egocentrism and humility at the same time. He seemed to be a shy guy, but he stood up for himself. He stood up for those he loved. He could be very demanding at the same time. But
Mhm.
I just thought that that was an interesting point. Him worried about the album name being too egocentric, but he himself you can't be Michael Jackson without being somewhat egocentric.
Right, but I think in the same time, there was I think for me, when he said that, I wanted to say to him, I was saying to myself, is he thinking about how his dad is
Mm,
as far as his ego and wanting to be on top all the time and his name in the lights and his name attached to this and his name attached to that? Did he feel that he didn't want to be that person?
that's an interesting take. Yeah, right.
That was my time. I was like, maybe he's thinking, I want to be like my dad, and everything is about me,
Yeah, yeah,
because initially, as good as Joe did for them, I think he put that in them not to be the person that is everything is about them because he made everything about him.
right, right. A good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I did not think about that. So another aspect that I really like was their inclusion of the bodyguard, whose name was Bill Bray,
Bill,
was
Bill,
played
yeah.
by an actor named, I think, Kylan Jones, who
Kylan,
did a,
Durrell Jones.
yeah, he did an excellent job.
Mhm.
How did you feel about the way they portrayed him?
I think he brought warmth to the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
I just really think that he allowed Michael to be Michael without anything attached to it. And to be and I said this to Wendy when we went to the movies. I was like, he was Michael's um, guard and friend since he was 8 years old.
ain't that crazy? Yeah,
I mean, like for real, you're talking 50 years that
wow,
he literally trailed Michael.
yeah,
And Michael trusted him so and he knew that he could be who he wanted to be when he was with Bill. I like the scene where he has this argument with Joe and he comes to the car and Bill's standing outside and he says, Bill said, "Where are we going?" He's like, "Just drive." And Bill didn't ask any more questions.
took off.
He took off. He got him in the car and rode, and he did not stop. He just drove and drove and drove and let Michael vent, let him cry, let him be him, without even asking, is there anything I can do? He just let him be him.
Yeah, so it showed that a good bodyguard, I guess, is going to be a psychiatrist, a good
Yeah,
friend, a chauffeur. He
yeah,
was all of those things to Michael,
he
and
was. He
it
really
was a
was.
beautiful portrayal. I especially like when they were in the toy store, and
To a store,
Bill
yeah.
Bill was just he just leaned back and let Michael have his way as far as signing autographs and buying stuff for the kids. He just looked, and he was like Michael's anchor to keep
Yeah,
him
yeah,
grounded.
yeah,
He was always there
yeah,
protecting him
yeah,
at the same time.
yeah.
That was beautiful, and it's something you don't think about. Um, we often, if you think about some bodyguard situations, they end up having to testify again against the person that they guarded all those years. And
Right,
this was
right.
more of a friendship from the way it appeared or the way they chose to portray it in this movie. You know,
Yeah, I think he was an emotional anchor and a very good trusted friend. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know, because he was older when he started, with Michael. He was a little
yeah,
bit. He was up in age. I'm not gonna say up in age, but he had to be in his 20s or 30s.
I'm not sure. I had looked it up when I
Yeah,
first
he
watched it.
wasn't a yeah, he wasn't young himself,
Yeah, yeah,
So I wonder whatever happened to him, in the long run. So, but I do think that he was those scenes with him and Bill kind of humanized Michael outside of
absolutely.
the spotlight, of being Michael Jackson. Those moments with him and Bill, um, I think they made Michael seem like he was just a regular old person who needed a friend.
Yeah, yeah, and
Needed a
yeah,
friend.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, Going back to the Thriller album, um, Michael was very adamant about getting his video, and I think it was Billie Jean, onto MTV.
TV, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it, he was. People don't know that MTV did not allow black people
Black
to
black people
have
to
their
be
videos
on.
on there at first.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
And
mm.
my understanding is that they wanted to protect the white viewers in the Midwest because they felt, well, I guess they had done their research and the white viewers in the Midwest were scared to see black people performing on TV. This is actually, you can read articles about this, and this was their reasoning,
Yeah, 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 I know.
which is crazy if you think of. But I guess, hey, it was what it was, as they say. But Michael Jackson was very adamant about getting his music to everybody,
Hmm.
and they had to threaten MTV with removing a lot of their artists from.
They're a lot of their white artists.
Yes, because that's all there were. All
That's
the,
all there were. And
right.
I mean, some of the um, top artists on the charts at that time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so this was in 1983, and so Billie Jean was the first video by a black artist on MTV, and of course, Thriller, I think, became to be the biggest music video of all time. So
Mhm.
they they're glad they're lucky that he was pushing to get on there. Michael Jackson probably could have started his own video network back
He could.
then, but
I
that's
think he
not
could
where his
have
mind
too.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really want to say that Michael actually set standards, and he um, was historical in making moves that a lot of other artists had yet to do. Um, MTV number one, he broke the color barrier
right.
for that, and I think that if he had not pushed as hard, I don't know where. And I think MTV is grateful because they were now one of the number one um, entertainment spots on television.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if your video made MTV, you were golden. You know, BET and all that hadn't really caught on like that.
right,
Uh,
right.
and MTV, people would be up late at night watching videos on
Absolutely.
MTV, and it was so funny because they were grade B and C videos compared to what
What
is out
can
there
be?
now.
Yeah,
But to
exactly.
be up at 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning to watch music videos, and that was a phenomenal in itself, and to have him on as one of the very first black artists to ever appear on MTV. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something that I learned. I didn't know that Michael was sort of forced into that tour with the rest of the with the Jacksons at that time, and in that process, he was filming the Pepsi commercial,
Hmm.
and in the process of filming the Pepsi commercial, sparks were coming from the pyrotechnics, and
Hmm.
his hair caught on fire. And
Right.
we all remember, well, those of us who were around then remember that
Remember.
being a big deal. His scalp was burned, he lost a lot of skin and had to have surgeries. So it was a really big deal. One of the things I learned in doing a little research, and maybe you did know this, so he won $1.5 million from the settlement with Pepsi.
Right. And
Yeah.
he gave it to the hospital,
Yeah, to the burn center in
to the
particular.
burn center. Yes.
Yeah, and they renamed the burn center
Burn
the
center
Michael
after
Jackson
him.
Burn Center. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was really cool. So he had his head in the right place most of the time, and he did a lot of things, a lot of good things for people. So that's one of the things that you find out about him when looking
So do
deeper into this movie.
when we think about Michael and we think about his passive attitude, his um soft spokenness, and if you have not seen the movie, you don't know that he actually stood up for himself.
Mhm.
After the fact, I think that was a learning that's something he had to learn to do.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and I think Quincy Jones noticed that as he was a young kid in the sound booth, teaching him about the equalization of the board and all this other stuff, and he could see that he was intimidated by his dad,
Right.
and he never Michael. They never showed Michael being emotional toward anyone but mother, their mom. But he was emotional toward Quincy Jones because
Mm,
Quincy. took time out to actually nurture the talent that he had, not just knowing that he had the talent,
Right.
but giving him other avenues about his talent, his career, what he was, where he was headed in this. Quincy Jones saw this when Michael was 8 years old. And I remember he told him, when they ask you how old you are, you tell them you're 10. I mean, no, he was 10, and he
And
said,
he told him eight.
tell them that you're 8,
Right.
And
Right.
so that is to keep the innocence of it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to keep the innocence of it all. But I just think that his father saw Michael's first form of affection toward another person,
When he
other
was with
than,
Quincy.
yeah, other than his mom. I mean, he
Mm.
didn't even have that emotional contact with his brothers.
Hmm.
Him and Latoya, I mean, I think they had a connection,
Right.
but I think he had a more nurturing, a more fulfilling connection between the mom and Latoya because Latoya was always there.
Yeah.
But he never showed any type of affection toward another person other than Quincy Jones.
Interesting. Okay. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, that's a it tells you how guarded he felt he had to be, I guess.
Yeah, all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. One other thing I wanted to touch on. I did not know that he had started doing the cosmetic surgeries, the nose job. I didn't know that he was still living at home when he started doing that.
Didn't
You know?
either.
Yeah. So when he went and got his nose done, he had to sneak back in the house with the
Yeah, he was
bandages
sneaking back
on,
in the house. Yeah.
and that was really interesting because they also touched on his vitiligo was starting to spread, so he was having to use different makeups to even out or
Hmm.
creams, and it made me think. And I've spoken with friends about this. We were really hard on Michael Jackson because
Yeah.
he he went through some stuff, and you never know how difficult it is to be a person if you haven't lived that life.
That person's
So
life. If you don't walk in, if you haven't walked in their shoes.
yeah,
Because we were sitting in the movie, and somebody said, "Oh, I didn't realize that he had vitiligo
yeah,
um that bad." I said, "Well, that's when people was talking about he was walking around here bleaching his skin."
right.
But he wasn't bleaching his skin. His skin was actually changed.
Yeah.
Now vitiligo is prominent, it's more prevalent now in the
We
African
have
American
models with
society.
we have
Yeah, models.
models with
People are now proud. It used to be something that you shied from, but now people are proud of their skin and how it looks now. There are different things that you can use on it, but people don't use, they don't go through that anymore. And
yeah,
like for his nose, I think, let me tell you, this goes back to Joe.
yeah.
When they were sitting there having a conversation, and he said something to Michael, he said, "Oh, big nose."
I don't remember
Yeah, yeah. So he called him
who said Big Nose.
Joe.
Oh, Joe called Michael Big Nose.
Michael Big Nose. And so, and then he started looking at photos of his album, of the album cover, of photos of himself, and looking at himself in the mirror. And that's when he started going to the doctor about that nose.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's in regard to the vitiligo. One of the things that I look back on now that I really hate happened were that people were saying that he was trying to be white by
Hmm.
changing his skin. And we had heard, we knew he had vitiligo, or some of us had heard of it. I did not really know what that was at the time, but we were very mean in our conversations about Michael Jackson. He doesn't want to be a black man anymore. He was
don't put
we.
we in there.
My bad.
I'm not from France. The I'm not from
We.
France. It's about
Yeah, I
we.
know. Yeah,
No, don't
a
put me
lot of
in
us,
that.
a lot of us were very mean towards Michael Jackson,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a lesson that we just have to allow people to make the changes that they want to make, and not be so critical of those changes. You know, we have to be just love them and be more concerned about ourselves in some regards. You know, but
Hmm.
I really
So we
felt
don't
bad
have to keep saying we.
about. I guess I said it. I know, but it's something to consider. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
um, what and you can't name Michael. What was your favorite, or what is one of your favorite musical biopics? And how does this movie stand
Oh,
next to it? I'll start. So
okay.
Ray is probably my favorite musical biopic. So Jamie Foxx, what he did with Ray
Oh yeah,
Charles in that movie was really, you know, even outside of the hype, it was just a beautiful movie, beautiful history, beautiful
it was.
cinematography, you know, especially going back to when he was a child in
Yeah,
the old
yeah.
country house, and, you know, them doing the stuff that we saw when some of us were younger. Um, I think about movies such as that show great musical artists' history.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
this, some people might argue, but this might go down as one of those, and we'll get into something else after this in a few seconds, because this is only a part, the early part of Michael's life. And for those who might not care for Michael Jackson because of the things he was accused of later on, this movie covers his life before any of the accusations, which I think started in 1993. So this is a
Hmm.
beautiful portrayal of what appeared to be a beautiful person. And, you know, I think it might be, be considered by some as a great biopic, musical biopic. Did you come up with one?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I did. Two actually. The first one would be well, three. So Aretha,
Okay.
I think
Is this the
Aretha
one with Jennifer
was
Hudson?
no, I like the one better with Cynthia.
Okay. I did not see either one of them. I got, so that's going to be on my agenda
Yeah,
this week
yeah,
to go back and
yeah. And
watch.
there was a lot of things in there that I had, and I'm a music lover, but I had not really studied Aretha.
Yeah.
Um, like I followed Michael Jackson forever,
Yeah.
but I wasn't a major follower of Aretha, but I loved her voice. I loved her charisma on her stage presence. Everything about her was epic. She
Yeah.
was big in light and name.
Right.
But I think there was a lot of stuff that I learned about her life and why she was who she was and why she became the person that she became and her relationships with her sisters and different things and the relationship that she had with her father.
Mm,
And so you hear things, but for them to put them in light and to know that it comes from true facts, and you're sitting here saying to yourself, "Oh my God, we think that we had it bad," or "Oh, that's why that person is like you just said that we now feel bad," or
yeah.
people feel bad or should feel bad about saying negative things about Michael because of his condition. And you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Aretha was, you know, she was mean to her sisters, or she was this and she was that," but she went through a lot.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, she went through a lot. I mean, starting at 12, 13 years, well, before that, but like majorly, you know, not being believed by people on certain aspects of her personal life and you know, having to live through things that you would never imagine a teenager would have to go through,
Right.
even in today's society. So yeah, I think Aretha was one of the great ones as well.
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to, like I said, go back and watch both of those.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of not having seen them prior to this, but I definitely will. Okay. So the moment we've been waiting for, what are you? We're gonna go 1 out of 5 stars. You cannot give half a star, so you can't say like 2.5, 3.5. You got to pick
Yeah.
one, two, three, four, five. What's your rating for Michael?
Uh, 5. If I could give it a 10, I'm gonna give it a 10, but definitely a 5. I say a 5 because of the great performances, the incredible music. Like I said, it was almost as if you was at a concert inside of the movie theater. I saw myself in there, just
Same
dancing. I
here.
was dancing inside of the movie theater, and the
Yeah.
people next to me started dancing. We were just in there dancing and clapping and singing, and
Mhm.
so it was like being at a concert inside the movie theater. The emotional early acts, the how they portrayed Michael, even Nia Long, how she played.
Oh yeah, she was a perfect Catherine Jackson.
It was a perfect Katherine Jackson.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I just think that in itself, that the actors, it was almost like they stepped back in the past and took
right.
over
Yeah,
their character's life and just melted right into that. You would have thought that was Catherine. Even she even had the limp right, and she had the lip on the correct leg. So
wow.
yeah, so you didn't. A lot of people didn't know that Catherine had a limp.
Yeah, I've never paid attention to it,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I've ever seen the real Catherine Jackson walk.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So I just think, yeah, everything about it, and I think how the relationships folded, um, unfolded, should I
Yeah,
say, even to the point where he bought all the animals, and I just was
right.
like, this is typical Michael and his love for kids and how he was in the hospital. He would go visit the kids in the hospital. I just think this movie showed an array of emotions for him
Yeah,
as a person from
ab-
beginning to end. And it made you feel like you were a part of who he was. Not just a fan, not just a moviegoer, not just a music lover, but as if you were actually a part of his life. I
I
just was like,
agree. You were immersed in the
yes,
Jackson experience.
yes,
It was
yes,
really, um, I felt that way too. So I'm gonna rate it 4 out of 5 stars, which is still which is still a great rating. This was a wonderful movie. I love the music, just like you. I see the expression on your face. Um, for me to give something a 5 star, it's got to be perfect. And there's only a few movies that I will give 5 stars. So that's just me being tough. But 4 stars for
right.
me, this is a great movie. Like I said, that scene where they were filming Beat It, that's my favorite scene. I love
Yeah.
the dance move were just perfect, and it felt like we were really watching Michael Jackson when he was performing Billie Jean, the famous Billie Jean performance that was live.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful performance, and he did a great job with that. I would love to see Jafar Jackson do some more. The so they've greenlit part 2, so there's going to be
Yeah.
a part 2. I don't know if they've started working on it yet or not. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they will get into some of the deeper stuff of Michael's life.
Yeah.
You know, and we're celebrating Michael Jackson, and we can celebrate the art. I want to say in defense of Michael that yeah, he he paid to not have to go to court, but that does not mean that he was guilty of anything that he was charged or accused of. And
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong, he was never convicted of anything. I
No,
don't
he
think.
wasn't.
Yeah.
He
So
wasn't.
there's a lot of people who think that the accusations are all fake or all lies. So I won't comment on my beliefs on that, but we want to keep that in our minds too. You know, look at some stars who've actually been convicted of crimes. Michael Jackson was not convicted of any of the
Of
crimes
anything.
or
That's right.
alleged crimes that people think about. So, yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. Great movie, almost perfect. Um, you gotta be perfect for me to give you a 5 out of 5. But yeah, yeah,
Don't
wonderful,
do that. Don't do that.
wonderful movie.
Yeah, so since you mentioned they've greenlit, you know,
A second,
a
the
part
next
two,
part. Yeah.
what are you hoping that they cover?
Um, yeah, some of his love life, I think he married Priscilla
Uh,
Presley's
uh,
daughter, her
yeah,
daughter.
her name was what was her name?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he married
So
her.
some
Yeah.
of that,
I think he had a relationship with Nikki Howard.
The singer Nikki Howard. Really?
Yeah,
I had
I
no
think
idea.
I think now don't quote me on that, but I think
Yeah.
there was something that went on between him and Nikki Howard at one time.
Okay.
I would like for them to um I would hope that they cover some of the 1993 allegations.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
would be,
just for clarity,
yeah,
for some people, and I know they probably have to get there, and it may be an NDA on that.
could be.
Um, So and also, oh my God, some of the mental and emotional toll, how it actually played, on him as a
Yeah.
global person
Yeah.
and his relationship with Chris Tucker.
Chris. Yeah. Well, interesting. That would be
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
um, his acquiring of the Beatles catalog.
Yes,
That was a big deal. So
that
I
was
would
a
love to
big deal.
see some
Yeah.
of that portrayed too. So there's so
Hmm.
much that was Michael Jackson. So they have a lot of stuff to pick from and to include in that next movie. So yeah, I can't wait. This was a great one, and I'm sure the next one will be great also. I hope Antoine Fuqua is involved in it again.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So a 5 out of 5 from you and a 4 out of 5 from me. Everybody, if you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. It's a wonderful movie. It's a good time. Please put in the comments what are your thoughts about our review? Do you agree with our ratings? What are your ratings? Put it in the comments. And please don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the Of Two Mindsets podcast. Dr. Pam, any last words today?
Um, I think go see the movie.
Yeah,
It will enlighten you. You will enjoy it. Put on your best Michael Jackson outfit.
at least a glove,
Um, yeah, at least a glove. If you don't have the glitter glove, go get you a white glove and
white
get you
glove.
some glitter and put you some glue all on top of it and just roll it around in there. Now you got your Michael Jackson glove.
There you go.
Um, and just um, enjoy it. It's a movie that I have. I've seen, I'm a movie lover, and I would say that I really would like to go see this again, and I'm going to. I'm going to see why you say a 4, and I want you to go see it again and tell me why you didn't do a 5. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I would just say, guys, if you want a good movie, an entertaining movie, a movie that is family oriented,
Absolutely.
this
Surprisingly
is.
so. Yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
surprisingly, it is a family-oriented movie. If you want truth, if you want great actors, if you want great music, if you want great storyline, go see this.
I agree. I agree. And with that, we want to thank everybody for joining us on the Of Two Mindsets podcast. I am Dee Hill, and she is Dr. Pamela Hooks. Hey, yeah. And with that, thanks again for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful day.